Okay, and we're back again, and this is going to be the first showcase of Set 5, and I'm excited by this. I spent a long time grinding I spent most of the day grinding to get these promos so I could play this deck and do a showcase on it, because it's very quickly become my most hyped deck. Obviously, you guys would have seen the previous video was a gameplay of this deck. So I've got 3 games to show today, and it's actually like very interesting. It's just outlining 3 different sort of scenarios that kind of happen. Whereas one game, it's a long grindy game. Another game is we just go gas and we can get everything to stick and we get to show the combos. And then the last one is what happens if you don't actually see your SCRs. So just before we get into a couple of these games, I want to give a massive shout out to everyone that's been hitting the like and subscribe button lately. We've gone up nearly, I think, over 30 subs in the last month. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. Please do keep smashing that like and subscribe button. I think that's about it. Let's get into the games. So this first game is against Jiren, and actually a card that I spoke about that could have been an option for you in this deck is a Warm Greeting. I am not running it. You guys would have seen the list. It is like very minimal. It's just like very, very heavy on the aggro. So this is like, sorry, I'm pretty sure I'm multi. I can't remember what I've done, but you want to be seeing this and then either a turn 1 or a turn 2 awaken, self-awakener. Against red, the 1-drop blocker isn't going to hang around like it will in other matches. So if anything, you just want to hold that and just find your Master Roshi in this matchup, because it can deal with these Whis, which can pose a little bit of a problem for you. So there's our Bomber. We hit the top 3 and hit another SCR. We draw into a super combo, and we know that that's dying, so we always combo it off, because you don't know if Jiren is actually going to play that slow control style where they use the TOP arena. At the time of recording this, I didn't actually check what my opponent's deck list was, as we see another Whis there. And you actually like really encourage them to swing at you, because it just helps you awaken, because you awaken at 3, not 4 like other leaders. It does suck to take a crit, but it just gets us that little bit closer. I've found that in this deck, going second feels a hell of a lot better, because turn 2 you can actually slap this down, swing twice for 25k, take a life. If they've, like in this situation that we're about to see, they've given us a target to swing at. And some people, I think, overread this. Whether he would have comboed out, he wouldn't have been able to combo out of one of his leader swings. But I think people actually don't realize half the time that this card restands at any stage. So he pretty much wasted a card there where he could have taken a life, which you probably would have the feeling that maybe he's trying to take his own life here, because he did play down the self-awaken, which Jiren typically doesn't have self-awaken tools. And so he does get the Mysing going. And the thing you do have to do is you do have to protect these. Whether you guys think that it's better to protect them, I just think you have to protect them, because I can get awakened next turn if I protect this here. So we combo out there, and he's obviously got a 2-drop in hand, so it doesn't get the buff because he's not awakened. But I was at a crossroads. I was really hoping that he wasn't going to poke with the Whis and sacrifice his hand, and very thankfully he did do that, and we didn't have to combo out anymore, because if he had swung the 2 Whis and comboed, I would have had to have let it die. And because this has lived, it is now straight value. So it is drawing a card. It is essentially drawing a card every single time, because it's taking your life. Now we switch it up. Jiren takes down, and it just, if you can't, like we've got the ability to clear the board like we have, and then still swing three more times at face. So this is why I'm saying, like, this promo is putting in so much work in this deck that is why I would recommend not playing this deck until you get these promos. So swing again, just really chip away at his hand. And at this point, because we are swinging crazy numbers, like we are swinging a lot of times, we're not too worried about him having a Jiren. We will say, like I did say in the leader insight the other day, that I do tend to hold the Awaken here, but because Jiren is awakened and he is 25k, I felt it was like a good opportunity to push. As he does combo out there. That's a really cool animation, the Goku. And here, so I was like in the midst of, I was actually watching a fellow YouTuber video. He dropped his new video today. I was actually in the middle of watching that while I was playing this. And because it prompts you to give you the option, I just sort of like had a brain fade and I actually discarded a card for it. And I think it was, I think it was the Gohan. You got to be very careful on the sim. Like, obviously IRL, you're never going to do this, but it is something just to be mindful of if you're sort of in your own little world like I was. Now, here I think, well, let's see how this pans out. I feel like my opponent actually made a mistake in how he handled this turn. He plays out the Gohan. Now, I think here, I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But I don't think he's used the Whis yet, which would have actually made it. No, he has used the Whis. So, yeah, I feel like maybe if he minuses one of them, swings into, if the Gohan that he swings into, he minuses, maybe he gets both of these off the board. It just makes it real awkward numbers, but I guess he wanted to make sure that he actually got one. So we get a Krillin, charging the... I think at this point I knew that he was like gonna struggle. He had no 30k body, so he could be double striked. And we see we have got the combo in our hand. I honestly probably, and then I just didn't want to die on the clapback because clapbacks in this game at the moment feel ridiculous. The Dimer clapback with the Glorio and the Margarita is ridiculous because they just let themselves go down to one life. They get a massive hand. It's like giving me like Top Coup vibes, the crackbacks in this game at the moment. And then, of course, this can be a pretty strong crackback. And, of course, Vegito. Like, Vegito can just swing you 40k, pump his leader up, and then swing an even bigger double strike with the SR Goku. So 3 life is a very sketchy number at the moment. I feel like that's really what's going to let this deck down is the fact that it's a 3 life. It's a 3 life leader. Same thing with Jiren. If Jiren can't, like, even Jiren would probably is going to struggle in this meta. I would assume. So again, I think I did do the right thing letting it die there. He had a lot of combo that he could have swung at me. As what did we do here? Oh, yeah, I think we just opted not to charge. And again, this card, I make another mistake here. I should have swung first. Always make sure you guys do this. This is I guess how not to operate when you're playing this. Make sure that you are focused when you're doing this because you are prone to making these mistakes. We've activated the extra card on 3 life, not 2, when we should have swung, taken the life, and then popped the extra card. So that's 2 cards that we didn't get to see, unfortunately. So he does let the Kefla die. And we do get the restand. And we throw the crit behind it to really, like, force him. That is what makes this Goku really good. If this Goku was 20k, probably a different story, but it's 25k, everything has to answer it. And we see that he just disappears. His hand just disappears. He's just got the 2 forwards. So we had another Destructo Disc, so we were just trying to crit him down, because obviously when Jiren takes a life, they draw. If I had swung him that second time, didn't throw the crit behind it, he takes it, he draws. I swing the 30k at him, he takes it, he draws. Suddenly he's got 4 cards in hand. So we do our discard, because you always want to make sure you're not at 2 life, because being at 2 life at the moment is even worse than being at 3 life. He does play down the Ramshi, and you know, it was sort of like really the only answer, and he chooses not to swing here, which I think is the right call. But this is where we just start digging, and I think back a few turns before I actually got rid of the SCR, the second SCR that I had. So I was really kicking myself at that point, because I thought I was really in cruise control. As we do finally deal Jiren that damage. As he does draw a Jiren. And the good thing for us is that he was at 1 life, so Jiren is useless. See, I really am not actually sure why my opponent plays down a Fua there. I think that's maybe a misplay from my opponent. I don't think he needed to play it to do that with the Fua. So we just blocked, because that could have been a Margarita for all I know, and then he could have swung like 20, 30. So he could have swung. Okay, so we were pretty safe there. As we don't charge, we just throw the Destructo Disc, make him have to answer us. And it is crit, and he just chooses to pop the Jiren effect, and that is the end of the game. So there you go, guys. It is a grindy matchup against Jiren, and I think we did pretty well despite a few misplays. But it just goes to show that you need to make sure that you're at that 2 life. If you're not at that 2 life, make sure you can get yourself at that 2 life to get your effects. And then also value your SCRs. Don't just get rid of them very easy. Alright, so this one is against Vegito, and I was actually really curious in how this would go with Sinister Sickle being a thing. Taking effect to obviously our 3-drop. And we do see, obviously, these are the 2 pieces. If I got one of these, I normally settle, but this is like an ideal curve to get yourself awakened. Play out a 1-drop on turn 1. And you can just leave it here. If they remove it, that's something they've used to remove it. And especially against this leader, you can stop a 40k swing, which, especially like I was just saying about crackbacks in this game, crackbacks at 3 life are really hard in this deck. Against this deck especially, because it swings 40k at you. If they've got like 10 cards in hand, they make it like 60, 70k, and then they can follow up with like a 90k Vegito swing. So we don't want blue to do their shenanigans to just keep themselves at high life. I don't know at this point what my opponent's trying to do, so let's just clear that off. That's why this Roshi is good. Take a life, KO 1-drop. Can't go wrong with it. Even the Kaioken animation is cool. As he does take that. Oh, I just realized I haven't got the camera rolling. So he is actually using the ultimate battle Gotenks. So I did briefly touch base on that card, because I was originally running the other 4-cost Goten. So he does mill with the Kibito again. We get the Gohan, which we are charging. So here you can like really put yourself in a think how you want to do it. Do you want to play down 2 blockers and then use this to draw more cards, just to really fatten your hand up and just slow down their awaken, so you're not dealing with the 40Ks, or you've got more bodies to look at the 40Ks? But I just choose the gas mode. I just choose the right pedal all the way down. You go full rev, swing at him like crazy. But again, same thing. If he plays down a Self-Awakener here, it gets a little bit awkward. But then he gets no removal, and I still get this. So I was pretty happy to leave him at 5. And here was a case where, like I was saying about staying at that energy, like it was a combo piece on board that maybe I was going to use at some point, as he does play the Go Tanks. And unfortunately, he didn't actually draw because he didn't have 10 in the drop, which is very unfortunate. So we did block there. So pretty much just allowed me to see an extra card. As we charge there, we will swing and awaken. The play, I can't really remember what the line of play was here. I think if it, well, I guess we're going to see what the line of play is. As he does combo it out there. So I think I choose, so we are taking life, so we do get one. At this point, we're just trying to nab some cards out of his hand. Just actually force him to have that self-awaken. And we finally get to play down our SCR. We just combo up. He'd make it pretty much impossible to combo out. He looks like he did have a super combo. And then we get our draw 2. And as I said, the longer you stay in this game is a little bit dependent on how many of those you see. A lot of the time I've just been able to use it. 2 more cards in hand. Sometimes I think one game I actually dug into my SCR that way, which was, I think it might have been the gameplay that come out. It does play the Gohan, okay, now I realize that my opponent made another mistake. He didn't bottom deck anything, so I can't, I guess I got a bit lucky in that sense. So switch it up, and we really just get to, this is where you want to be, like, at this sort of turn. I think I actually mapped my turn out wrong because I was under the impression I was going to play another SCR, but you can't because I already had an SCR. Because if I was at 7 energy, I could just hardcast it, but we are really just applying the pressure, and this 30k is just really good as well. I haven't touched on how, like last turn, that was real valuable where I could just swing the 30k at the Go Tanks. Sure, I swung 2 attacks, one attack I comboed up, but it just nabbed some cards out of his hand and it got the 30k body off the board. So again, we play down the 3 cost double attack or dual attacker with 25k power is very, very strong because it's always demanding a 10k. As he is coming out there, hand is dwindling down. And we do here swing we dared to pop off the double crit. So it was good to actually get the double crit off. And he's opted to take it. And here is where you got to think, this is where you think about the crackback. Are they just going to swing big number at me and then play the double strike? If they've taken all that, they're not defending it. Look like he actually he actually did not have enough combo power, so he was always taking it. But that's the mindset that these crackbacks have put in my mind at the moment. So when you look at this established board, there's not much that's really getting rid of the 7 cost. So obviously we haven't got another one to play out. Here's a real good spot where you can just use instant Kamehameha. You've tapped yourself out. You don't need meteors. You can just pop an energy, you get 15k. There was actually one game, I think I went down to 2 energy, and it was one of the games that I was like real disappointed that I lost, because I lost to like a 10k Margarita where they just had enough cards left in hand just to combo over me one more time. So he combo out there, and he does play another Gohan. It is cool that he gets to actually bottom deck him this time. But looking at that now, it's really hurt him. But when you look at what he had, there was no way that he was surviving. It was just the just the pure aggression and able to keep our board alive. So in Season 3, this guy was ranked 190 in God rank, so I don't feel too bad about losing this one, which is a quick spoiler. So see, he's running what looks like pretty much like the build that we had the inside on. Not a bad start, but the only thing we're really missing is of course the 1-drop blocker. So he does draw 2, he discards 2. I'm actually considering cutting this because I've not been in any situation where this has actually been needed. Like I was saying, I actually still have not checked that cheat sheet if it searches for Gokus with an energy cost, because another way to search out your SCR is probably strong, as they charge a Vegito. We did end up seeing the blocker, which was really handy. We get the Kami, and then he has of course, the Goku Oob, which is mandatory take a life, mill 3. And we pass up, so we find another blocker. So at this point, yes, I haven't seen the SCR, so I need to start digging for it. Because I pretty much have all my pieces. The SCR is the only thing that I'm missing. So we hit another 3-drop. And we opt not to... I don't know when the best time to use the marker. I think the best time to use the marker in this deck is on turn 2 to play this, but I really wanted to try and dig for an SCR. Says another Goku Oob gets his Awakening. I didn't actually pay attention then. Maybe he must have just drawn into that. Not sure. Now he gets his Awaken. And he dodged the super combos. So in 18 mills, my opponent has dodged all the super combos. All super combos, by my knowledge. Yeah. So he has 2 pans. So we play down the Gohan to take a life. Again, I wasn't too sure, but I needed to kind of respond to this board. Which, ironically, I just said I was contemplating cutting this. I wouldn't have been able to use it because I was at 3 life. No, wait, I was at 4 life. So I wouldn't have been able to use it anyway. Which is why I still think it should be printed as a 3 cost with a permanent. When your life's at 2 or less, it goes down to a 2 cost. But we do see my opponent use a super combo there. And that sort of got me thinking. I wasn't going to combo the Kami, but when he used the super combo, I was like, okay, well... maybe he doesn't want to use combo in his hand, which is why he's used a super combo, so let's swing 30 at him again. So I think that was the okay thing to do. Fortune Teller Barber. Okay, so people... obviously, walking into the Gohan hurt. I originally didn't actually have Gohan in my list, and I've actually tweaked my list a little bit since actually playing some more games, and the Gohan has come into surprisingly, the Gohan has come into the deck. So we did take down the 2 there. I was always taking one of these because I wasn't sure. I just wanted to make sure that I was at the 2 life, just so I didn't have to do the math next turn, because realistically here, I want to either Bulma, try and find an SCR, or a brief to hopefully hit an SCR. So we find a Kami. Okay, maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. As he does let it die, and it was the decision here. I contemplated swinging at the Gohan with the leader, but because the Trunks was still on the board, it was just pointless swinging at the Gohan. I felt like swinging face would actually sort of get something. As he does, as we say, so we dealt a damage there where we know we weren't getting this. So I think swinging there to the leader was the correct way. So we draw 2 and still no SCR. We discard, go back to 3, and we carry on from here. See, it draws. So we're obviously getting the block in here. Because we are in that 5 energy, 3 life, he's already got an established body plus a 40k swing. This is where the double strike combo territory really gets you. And now that I watch this back, I think as soon as I comboed this, I said to myself, why did I just do that? Because I shouldn't have comboed away my Bulma. So that's definitely a misplay on my part. At that point, I was just like, well, I'm just gonna have to dig and dig and dig. Funny enough, we drew into another Bulma, but with 5 energy, we would have been able to get a double search off, which could have been game changing. And this Bulma whiffed. That is the only thing. That is the one thing about top 3 searches. It is not great. So here I just kind of like, if I could push, maybe I could push. I think I'd set out it was like 50, 60, 70 sort of thing, but I'd checked his drop, and at that point he'd only had 1 super combo, so it was a good chance that he had more super combos. I was still a fair way off. So I really, if I had the SCR, I possibly could have pushed that damage, because I could have gone to 50, 80. No, I don't think I was getting there, unfortunately. And that's just how it was. So as you see, like, if I was able to play down the SCR earlier and really pressure him, probably would have been a different outcome in that game. So it is a bit of a glass cannon. Things can go wrong. Like, if you brick a little bit, it can be disaster for you. And even just the tiny little mistakes in very tight games will actually make a big difference. So if you guys have enjoyed today's showcase, let me know in the comments how your games are going. And I just want to give a shout out. I got this, like, if you haven't seen where to get these, they're in the store under supply, and there's 4 different ones. This was my favorite one, and it's really cool to have a backdrop like this. Really, really cool, I think. But guys, that's the end of the video, and we'll catch you all on another one soon.